Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Knessa coming to you from the home studio today on this, the second day of July in the year 2024. Sure hope you're enjoying your day today, no matter where it is you are in the country. It's 82 degrees here in downtown Kearny, New Jersey, so it's a gorgeous day out there and hope you're enjoying it. But a beautiful, nice day, let's put it that way. So hope you're all enjoying today. And as you do each and every week, you welcome me into your home so that I can bring you this week's news. But I have to start off with something a little bit different today, and that is because my buddy, Armand Buddy Rose, died last week. And I am pretty certain that many of you who are regular readers of The Observer will recognize his name. Armand Buddy Rose was a prolific letter writer. He wrote sometimes 3 or 4 times a week. We would get letters from him, so many that we certainly weren't able to publish all of them. It was not possible because I think whenever something irritated Buddy, he would sit down in the computer and write letters. And I got an email from one of his neighbors the other day, and she had sent me his obituary that he had died. He was 84. And I'm going to tell you a few things about Buddy first, just to kind of paint a little bit of a picture of who he was. He was retired from the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. In fact, he was a very close friend at the time of former Kearny Councilman John Leadbeater. And that was sort of the tie that binded us, and that was that allowed me to get to know him, because he knew I knew John, and he knew that I was at the Observer, and so that was kind of his way of, I would say, introducing himself to me when he did about 10 years ago. And the thing about Buddy that most people, I guess if you ever looked at the tone of his emails and his letters would be shocked about, because we had a great rapport, was that on the issues, our personal views were diametrically opposed. They were. About the only thing that I know for certain that we agreed on was a lot of sports, the fact that we both were born and raised in Jersey City, that his mom and my mom and he went to the same high school, Dickinson High School in Jersey City, and that we didn't like what Phil Murphy was doing in the state of New Jersey, and that really blossomed during the Keegan Landfill days. But the thing about it was that when it came to other major issues, a lot of times what he would send to me, I would look at it and say, "Oh God, here we go again." But it was his opinion. We always respected that. And no matter what the letter was about, whether it was something in national politics, state politics, even local politics, because he would delve into that too, including and especially during the Keegan Landfill ordeal, where he was very, very supportive of the town of Kearny as a resident of North Arlington. It never turned into a shouting match. It never turned into the ugliness that we see on a daily basis if you turn on TV news like that. We always spoke cordially to each other. We were able to have vehemently different views on things, but it never turned into an ugly discourse. It never turned into anything personal. There was never anything mean about what he would say to me and what I would say to him in return. And it was such a refreshing thing to be able to do in the era of nastiness when it comes to talking about politics. You know that. You know how nasty it is now, and how, at least for my own self and for, I'm sure, many people too, you don't even pay much attention to it anymore because it's gotten so vulgar in many ways. But he and I were able to talk about things like gentlemen, because he was a true gentleman. He was a loyal employee of the Port Authority. In fact, on September 11th, 2001, he was working at Journal Square when those towers came down, as was John Leadbeater on that fateful day. And the two of them worked throughout the day on 9/11. Even though at a certain point in the day, the trains stopped running from Manhattan into Jersey City, as many of you will remember, and that lasted for a long period of time for some too, especially between the World Trade Center and Exchange Place. But Buddy was always willing to talk about things. He never hid anything. He would never want to hide anything. That was just the way he did it. He just never did. And that was the beauty of the guy that he was. He would never hide how he felt about anything. And it is a tremendous loss to me on a personal level. But, this is, you see the comment here from John Drimkowski, which I think is kind of says it. John is also from North Arlington, the way Armand was. And John says, I never met him, but respected his views and was in agreement on many issues with him. John, that's an understatement. You and he were so much alike in the way you had in your worldviews. And I always enjoyed that about, because John, for folks who may not know who John Drimkowski is, John is another prolific letter writer. In fact, we got a new one just the other day that will run not today, but in next week's newspaper. And John and Armand really have a similar worldview. And it's funny that they never met each other, because I think they would have been dear friends if they had a chance to meet each other, if they ever did. So I'll say this in conclusion. I'm going to miss Buddy. I really am. I'm going to miss seeing the emails in my inbox from his ancient AOL account that he never got rid of after all these years. And I really think this was a real tough one for me to have to deal with. This just seems like so many good people, we're losing them. And his wife Janet called the office this morning. I haven't called her back yet. I will later today, and I'm dreading it. I really am. What do you say to the widow of a man who you've admired for such a long time? But Buddy Rose is gone. He was 84 years old. He was a true gem. And I am going to miss him tremendously, and may he rest in peace, and may his family get through this difficult time. And it was not unknown that he was going to probably die. He had a very, very bad form of cancer, and he battled it for years, but it just beat him like it does so many people. Lisa has a note in here that the newspapers are being delivered today. They're normally delivered on Wednesdays, but I guess maybe because of the holiday or for whatever the reason, they're being delivered today, so you can get them early. You won't have to wait until tomorrow to see what's going on in this week's edition of the Observer. So that's a little bit about Buddy. Thank you for indulging me. And to anybody who knows him, you will certainly miss him the way I did. This week's front page is a story about a young man named Stephen Aguirre. He graduated from Kearney High School in 2007 and then went on to the United States Marine Corps. In fact, he trained in the infamous Parris Island Training Center for the United States Marines, and he served honorably for 3 years. And after his discharge, he moved to California, then came back to Kearney. And he's a salesman now, and if you know him, and I only got to know him just a couple of days ago when I interviewed him, you find a very gregarious human being, somebody with an extremely outgoing personality. So it won't come as a surprise that he is looking to become a much bigger DJ, a much bigger name in DJing here in the New York City, New Jersey area. Had a chance to get to know him a little bit, and I hope you will too. And if you are looking for a DJ, I'm telling you, this guy is great when he gets behind the mic and he gets to a turntable. He is absolutely tremendous. I was really, really glad that I had a chance to meet him and speak with him on the phone the other day, and I think you will too if you get to meet him and you read the story. But check it out. It's on page number 1 today, and it jumps onto the inside. And if you'll just bear with me for a second, I just need to slide this over a little bit because I didn't center it right, but now there it is. And you can probably hear in the background my cat is meowing. He hasn't said a word all day long, but because I'm on the air, he is talking. Now, this is a story from the Kearney Police Department. Kearney hired 7 new police officers. One of them was already on the job in the city of Newark, so he'll get right onto the streets. The other 7 are going to the police academy and will eventually, I believe it's 6 months, be on the streets patrolling Kearney and keeping us safe. This was a bizarre story that somebody sent to me from the federal government. This guy who you see here, his name is Mark Eager, was selling fentanyl on the dark web. Now, if you don't know what the dark web is, it's a really encrypted and deep down section of the web that not everybody gets to see. You have to have a certain type of program in order to view the dark web. But on it, you often find some of these crazy sites where people look to, hire people to kill their significant others, where they sell drugs, where there's all sorts of gratuitous sexual activity and a bunch of craziness. But apparently this guy was working, he was in Portland, Oregon somehow, or at least he was doing his transactions via Portland, selling illicit fentanyl. And he was just caught a couple of months ago by the federal government, and they released a report. And he had almost half a pound of fentanyl on him. And believe it or not, when the feds enacted their warrant, the house that he lived in is on Laurel Avenue, between Kearney Avenue and Argyle Place. So just keep that in mind if that happens to be your neighborhood, that there was a lot of this kind of activity going on, and a lot of the fentanyl was in Kearney in that house on Laurel Avenue. But the Department of Homeland Security investigations did an undercover operation, and they were able to haul him in, and he is now waiting extradition, I believe, to go to Oregon. But right now, he is spending his days in the Hudson County Correctional Facility in South Kearney. And Larry Hanlon, who joins us today, says, Kearney's CI. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. He's got a lot. He's facing a lot of charges, and more than 10 years behind bars, but we'll see what happens. You never know when things like that happen. People do tend to flip a little bit. You're right, Larry. The Township of Belleville has a community garden, and this year all of the lettuce that was grown there was given to a food pantry. It was multiple pounds of it. And little things like that are not so little, really. And what they're doing at the community garden in Belleville is tremendous through Mayor Michael Melham and the green team over there. So we have a little story about that. The Knights of Columbus are having a barbecue, the proceeds of which will benefit the Deborah Heart and Lung Center in Manhattan. So if you are so inclined and you want a nice, well-prepared, home-cooked meal, take a look at this week's edition, and you'll find the dates and location for the event. And, of course, Pop Warner football registration continues in Harrison for children of Harrison and East Newark through this month. 2 of Belleville's council members are no longer here. They are both retired, and their last day on the job was June the 30th. And Mayor Michael Melham and other sitting members of the council who are remaining paid tribute to them. And, of course, the new council members in Belleville just took office as well, so they began on the 1st of July. And, of course, don't forget, the 4th of July celebration is coming up, and that, of course, is Thursday in Kearney. There are fireworks at Veterans Field. If it rains on the 4th, they will move it to the 5th. God, hopefully there won't be any rain that day. But Ralph Kataffi and the Recreation Commission have put together a tremendous program. Every year, it is extremely, extremely well done. And I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, 10,000 or so people were there over on the hill by Bunny Hill. So check it out if you've never been to it. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal experience. And Ralph and the town of Kearney do a phenomenal job putting it together. Of course, the rules: no smoking, no alcohol, no backpacks, no coolers, no pets on the field. So just take a chair and go, because that's about all you can bring there. But there'll be food available in the concessions, I believe. Don't quote me on that. And, of course, Joe's Deli's over there, too. Lyndhurst police have arrested a man who was involved in a dispute with a fellow resident, and then, of course, he wound up punching a cop. So you can read that. That was wild. And then Lieutenant Paul Haggerty of the Lyndhurst Police Department sent me a piece the other day about this poor woman who was experienced an emotional break, and she walked into the Passaic River. It was about knee deep, but she was freaking out, and the fire and police departments had to help get her out and save her, but she is okay. And I understand she was taken in for evaluation, so hopefully she is doing better. And of course, my Uncle Mike is here. Happy 4th to you too, Uncle. He's out in Carlsbad, California. Hope everything is okay out there. Please be safe. Now, the Jim Haig Observer Female Athlete of the Year was announced, and it is Julia Todsman. She was the obvious choice from the beginning of the year. This is an incredible track star. She also played soccer. I don't know how she sleeps because she's always doing something. But when I remember back in October saying, you'll see the same, I'll say the same thing next week too about the male athlete of the year. But let me tell you, this Julia is an incredible athletic talent. And the male athlete of the year comes from Lyndhurst too. And I think it was the first time that it's ever happened that way. Don't quote me on that for sure, but it's certainly a rarity that the athletes of the year come from the same community. But in this case, Julia was just, from the very beginning of the year, the obvious choice that she was going to do this. And she continued all year long in the 3 sports that she played, the 3 letters that she earned. So read all about her. She's going to a Division I school next year, I'm pretty sure. And she will be missed around here for sure. And we congratulate Julia and her family and all of the athletic staff in Lyndhurst for her incredible accomplishments. And well done, Julia. She did a great job. Lisa and I had a chance to meet her 2 weeks ago. Great young lady. In the borough of North Arlington, on the 4th of July, they will have a reading of the Declaration of Independence. Anybody is able to volunteer to read a portion of it. Some of the council members will. In the past, I know our friend Sidney Ferreira joined in last year from Kearney. So if you are interested, please attend. It's a nice ceremony in North Arlington. We have all the details here for you on page number 12. This is a brief story that I wrote about a man from Belleville who was allegedly driving at 90 miles per hour and drinking, and who killed a 19-year-old young man from Flanders. What a shame. Such a young kid to lose his life at that young age. Check that out when you get a chance. And, of course, there are 2 pages of classified, so if you need anything there, you can certainly find it right there, as you always can. Just a quick reminder, we will be closed on Thursday and Friday of this week in observance of the 4th of July holiday. It's already very, very slow in the area, so I'd imagine a lot of people have taken off already, but that shouldn't stop you if you need it classified. You have until Wednesday, and then, of course, when we reopen at 10 a.m. on Monday, you'll be able to do that as well. So don't forget about that. Even though we'll be closed on Thursday and Friday, you can still take out classifieds Monday and until we get to Thursday. And we will be back 1 week from today, unless, of course, something breaks. And who knows? The way things have been going lately, it's very possible we may be back with you again before the end of this week. But that's going to do it for now. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today. My Uncle Mike, who is here, Larry Hanlon, who is here, Alyssa Machado is here. I don't know how I missed that, Alyssa. I apologize. It's good to see you. Alyssa, our own Lisa is here as well. John Drimkowski from over in North Arlington, and everybody else who's here that didn't say anything in the chat room. We thank you for spending part of your day. So from the home studio, Kevin Canessa signing off for now, and we hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Enjoy the rest of today, everybody. Have a great and safe 4th of July, and be well. Take care.